Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions for the first round that we are broadcasting, at least, of the Podium 1 Open Championship, sponsored by Rafa Racing Club and supported by Grid Finder. We are here at Silverstone for the second round of this mini championship, and we're looking forward to some great GT3 racing on a Monday night. Bringing it to you live on the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel. It's me, Reese Gardner, with Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box. Well, Zippy, it's good to have another new series on board, and this one, well, it's something that we have seen before, GT3s, but once again, always provides fantastic racing. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, Reese. It's definitely good to be back here indeed. Well, I say back here, back in the booth, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, the one and only Mr. Reese Gardner joining me in the booth. You can see his wonderful face there, smiling at you. But it's definitely good. And not only that, we're back at one of the best circuits in the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's home of the British Grand Prix. It is the one and only Silverstone circuit. It's about 5.8 kilometers. Don't ask me what that is in miles. I'm going to say roughly about 3 point something. And it's a little bit warmer today, Reese. 34 degrees Celsius. But one of the interesting things that we're going to have about this series is while these guys all share the same car, it's all a fix setup as well. There is damage on with a fast repair. There is different classes within that. You got the gold, silver, and bronze. So it is a multi-class within the GT3 class, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed, I believe the class is sorted by iRacing. This is a very nice system that they've got going here, and it'll be interesting to see who ends up where with their respective ratings and whether or not they can outperform them. It'll be interesting indeed. Well, today's format is, well, we've got qualifying of 15 minutes. The drivers are right in the middle of that at the moment. We're going for a 40-minute timed race here. And if I'm not incorrect, Zippy, I believe there's a pit stop involved too?
Well, I would certainly expect there to be one, Reese.
All right. This is a fantastic format that I'm certainly familiar with from past broadcasts I've done over the years. It always results in a wonderful sequence of strategy through the pit cycle. So qualifying at the moment on with Artis Veldra in the number 17, leading the standings there. Gold drivers in the top two. Amrit Vestrala is running second place. Darwin Hansen, the top silver driver, and Drew Martin, the top bronze driver. Darwin at the moment strutting his stuff out there through turn one as Drew Martin exits the pits in his BMW. Looks like a very nice variance of cars at the top of this field. Veldra in the Lamborghini, Vestrala in the Mercedes, and we have Darwin Hansen also in a Mercedes. Drew Martin in that BMW, but that outlap not going particularly well so far, running a bit off the grass in the opening turns of the track. We'll see if he can improve on that 201.2. Needs to gain 2/10 in order to get into the top four and the second row of the grid.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. And as you were saying, Reese, a fantastic eclectic mix here of different cars here at Silverstone, and definitely something that I am very much enjoying. I do love it. And then not only that, probably one of the best sounding cars in the iRacing service. Ladies and gentlemen, get your eardrums onto this. And so not only that, we're going to start a flying lap. Reese, why don't you do the honors?
Well, a little bit of a lift, maybe a tap of the brakes into Abbey for turn one, then through Farm at turn two. Flat out, but keep the car to the left-hand side of the racetrack. Brake a bit later than you think for the arena section. Tight left-hander into an even tighter left-hander. Sorry, there was a right into a left. I get my lefts and rights confused all the time. Need to make sure you have the traction out of the hairpin there at Village, and then you'll be able to get a good run onto the Wellington Straight, which used to be one of the runways of RAF Silverstone. Then we get into the midst of Brooklands and Luffield. This is a fantastic sequence, especially in a GT3. Not as much aerodynamic grip as the Formula One cars we usually see racing here, all the way across the curb on the exit. Artis Veldra then through Woodcote, which used to be the final corner of Silverstone. This is the old grid and start finish line he's passing by now. Into Copse, super fast right-hander, one of the scariest corners on this circuit, but it gets even scarier when you come up to the Beckett's S's. Abbey is the first, just tip to the left and then flick right, getting into Beckett's and Chapel. Hard left there, slowing down all the while. Keep the corner speed up though, because you need to get a good exit through Chapel onto the hanger straight. Veldra using all of the curb there for the optimum exit underneath the bridge, and then you're just trying to pick your braking point for Stowe. Where does he brake? Roundabout, just past the 100 marker. Angle it towards the inside. Very fast corner. Careful not to run too far across the curb on the exit. You'll get an off track through Vale into the braking zone. And then hard left and right. Last corner is Club. Bit sharper than it used to be to end off the lap. You got to be careful of that anti-cut curve on the inside. Across the start-finish line, Veldra comes, and that is a 1:59.993. Not quite as fast as his current pole time, but still very clean lap around Silverstone.
Fair play to him. He's definitely a lot quicker than I am, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play, most of these drivers are, but it's definitely a fantastic assortment here. Let's see if we can actually bring it up right now. Actually, let's see if I can find that magical button here to see just how much of a variety we have here in the standing so far. There you go.
Yes, indeed. So we still have the 2 gold and 2 silver drivers in our top 4 there. Actually, looks like Drew Martin has been demoted a bit. And then Quinn Manders putting in an improvement there, getting down to a 2:07 in the Porsche. And he'll find himself in the top 5 with under 3 minutes to go in the session. Now, this is a single race server.
Oh.
So, okay.
Oops.
We are getting up to some considerable amounts of tomfoolery out there, it seems.
This sounds like it's going to be my kind of fun. Definitely what I'm looking forward to. But here's a driver, actually. I'm not seeing him take out there. There we go. He's in the Mustang. Mr. Pierce Fox now is having a little bit of banter with him there as he goes and slides his way through the corner. He's yet to put in a time lap, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly getting maybe a little bit of off tracks right now, but I think he may have run out of time. Maybe a little bit too late across that start finish. But one of the, actually 2 of the gold class drivers there, Pierce Fox, yet to post a time, as did the Ferrari driver there, Scott Laurentini. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not quite sure why Scott is in that gold class. He's 888 iRating, but don't get me wrong, in practice he seemed pretty potent. And I've got to say, interesting choice of livery there. Clearly a Red Bull Verstappen fan. I do wonder if Franz Hansen will be taking to the wheel of this Ferrari this afternoon.
I gotta wonder. Yeah, I think that might betray the fact that iRating does not determine your class. Potentially, it's set according to the pace that you're able to run. So Scott will bring his Ferrari round. He is on the 3rd lap of this particular run, has yet to get a time out of it. It could be very easy to get off tracks here at Silverstone, particularly there at the exit of Stowe, right there. Got to keep the tyres on the curb there. If you run too far into the green and you go beyond the white line, you will invalidate your lap. And it is the same here at the exit of Club. Keep it nice and straight through this corner. And Laurenti comes across the line to set a 204.6 right when he needs to. The session is now technically over. Oh, will he be able to stick with this lap and maybe improve on that time? Second last of the drivers to set times. And can I just say, the Mustang driver here of Pierce Fox, I'm a big fan of that livery. That is a Supercars livery that he's put on his Mustang, the former Grove Racing Penrite scheme. Absolutely love seeing liveries from my part of the world on GT3s, but that's a little bit loose into the Abbey corner. And it looks like that's going to be everyone run and done with qualifying. We are potentially going to have a grid on our hands soon, Zippy, but we've got a 5-minute warm-up before that race goes off.
Well, while they do that, I'm thinking, well, let's try and do some championship points before we do this. And what do you reckon, Rich? Should we start with the bronze or start with the gold?
I reckon let's start with the bronze and work our way up.
Works for me, sir. Have at it, as you wish.
All right, so in the championship standings here, we've got CJ Conklin leading the way on 119 points, but he's actually tied with Jack Minter. So whoever finishes ahead here today will gain that championship lead. Richard Pettit and Maynard Fetters are not too far behind, with Sean Phillips and Wade Kloben currently the last with points on the board. We've got plenty of other drivers registered for bronze, but not all of them are here today. In silver, Quinn Manders leads the way, 9 points in it over Darwin Hanson and Tyler Gramling. They are tied for second place. Souza and Jones round out your top 5 with 56 points to Richard Thurston's name, only 3 points in that. So we'll see how that turns out. Clayton Maguire and Michael Belair, I don't see either of them in the session, so their points will stay the same, as well as Kent Locklear. Meanwhile, in gold, we will find our way to the overall championship lead of Artis Veldra, 98 points to his name. Colin Hopkins not here at the moment, so we'll see if Veldra can consolidate that championship lead with Doug Sorrentino. That's a name I'm familiar with. In P3, 86 points. Unfortunately, he too is not here today. So we'll see Amrit Vestrala, 44 points to his name in P5, considering his qualifying performance, standing to gain big points out of this one, Zippy.
Well, that's definitely some good news there. And again, this is a new and emerging championship, ladies and gentlemen. So if you do want to get involved, keep in mind, Podium 1 do some really quality sim gear, ladies and gentlemen. They aren't just sim people, they are car people indeed. And I was just checking out that Rafa Racing Club just before we went on air, and I had an idea of what I thought it was. And it's fair to say I was blown away a little bit more. This is like, it's not just driving cars, it's not just simulators. This is like, think about, you know, the clubhouses you get at some of the modern day circuits now. Think about that, and then think about actual, like, physical performance centers as well. This is that kind of level. And it's fair to say that if they offer a guided tour, I would very much be down to go down and check that out. Because don't get me wrong, while I am as fit as a dustpan and brush, ladies and gentlemen, it's fair to say I would enjoy the challenge.
Absolutely. I am familiar with Rafa Racing Club. I race on the occasional Saturday night in a historic Formula One league on R Factor 2, and Rafa Racing Club has entries in that. They have some very fast drivers to their name, and they've been a bit of a fixture in the historic sim racing scene for a year or two now, with the likes of Jerne Simoncic and traction staff as well, like John Munro and others, drivers that I've been very familiar with over the years. So I hope that this partnership continues. It's great to see Rafa involved with this one.
Absolutely, Reese. It is indeed. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. Certainly, you got to love technology at times. But let me see here. We've got about a minute and a half before we get to the end of the warm-up. They're currently doing a drivers' meeting, I believe, as well. But again, if you want to get involved, absolutely reach out to us. We will definitely make sure you get hooked up with that. And again, a huge honor to have these guys here on the service. Huge thank you as well to CJ Conklin specifically. He's the one who's really kind of backing this thing and pushing to get it going. And certainly we could not do it without his support. So a huge thank you for him, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely as well, if you want to race, it looks like we've got a very eclectic field. I'm thinking of some drivers, particularly the ones with the initials WBM, that I could see being a very potent force here in the Podium 1 Open Championship.
Yes, potentially. Well, yeah, lots of room for people to sign up and have a go against some pretty solid talent in this GT3 championship. Just looking at those qualifying times, I note that Artis Veldra has a massive advantage over the rest of the field in terms of single lap times. He ended up taking pole by 1.1 seconds over Amrit Vestrala. So I think Veldra is the favorite to win here today.
Yeah, certainly we're definitely going to have to see that. Definitely don't get me wrong though, Reese. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen outright pace, and then we've seen race pace and racecraft. And don't get me wrong, just because you can put in a quick lap time does not mean you're going to absolutely run away with it. Certainly myself, on the rare occasion I do manage to put in a quick time and get up to P1, I actually do better in traffic. You put me in P10, I'm likely going to finish higher than if I start in P1. It's just the way that I'm wired, ladies and gentlemen. I need somebody to battle with. But certainly they are just about getting that warm-up to a close. I do have to wonder, is he going to give us the grid? Let's find out here, Reese.
All right, let's find out indeed. I will begin reading anyway once the session ticks on over. So just a few seconds remaining. And there we are, Artis Veldra on pole position with Amrit Vestrala joining him on the front row. Darwin Hansen and Brent Souza, the top two silver drivers, on the second row, followed by Quinn Manders rounding out the top five. He'll share row 3 with Jack Minter, the top bronze driver. Drew Martin and CJ Conklin are row 4, with David Gallant and Richard Pettit rounding out your top 10. Scott Laurenti and Maynard Fetters will round out your top 12. Then we go to the drivers who couldn't set a time in qualifying. Pierce Fox and Daniel Blanco scheduled to start on the 7th row, and followed by Nico Colby and Clayton Maguire. Now, Fox and Maguire set times in practice. Maguire a 2:13 in practice. That is very far off the pace. I don't think that is the ultimate pace that he is capable of. Potentially he had other stuff taking him away from the sim during qualifying. So let's wait for the race start to get a real read on Maguire's pace. For now, Artis Veldra has brought that Lamborghini right into the fold. It's been a while since I've seen a Lamborghini at the top of a GT3 field in iRacing.
Yeah, I definitely am very happy to see it up there. It's probably my favorite GT3 car, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Blanco, I can tell you, he is there for a more of a support role in this series, ladies and gentlemen. He's not going to be driving a car, but definitely good to see these guys up and out. And what an absolutely fantastic field as well. 15 cars there on the grid. You know what? These guys are just starting out. They've got even more starting to sign up as well. Definitely would love to see you on board. WBM, you are going to be getting a subtle hint to come and give this a good run for its money here. But we are indeed going to be getting ready to go underway. Reese, I'm ready for that green flag.
Looks like Artis Veldra is too.
Whoa.
He went very early, and there's a little bit of a wiggle there through club from Amrit Vestrala, and he loses touch with Veldra on the way into turn 1. Side by side for 4th there, Jack Minter and Brent Souza trading places through Abbey Curve. Amrit Vestrala, meanwhile, getting his rhythm up, and he is now well in touch. That's a big move around the outside for Jack Minter, but it's not quite enough. He washes wide, and that's going to give the position back to Souza through the kink onto the Wellington Straight known as Aintree.
Oh,
but they will continue side by side on the run up to Brooklands. Who gives the most room? Minter is very confident on the brakes, but too confident. Around he goes. The rears break free, and into the tarmac runoff he goes, falling all the way to the back of the field. Oh dear, Maynard Fetters not quite ready for that Porsche to emerge onto the racetrack. Maybe a bit of an unsafe re-entry there, but we'll have to see. Meanwhile, Pierce Fox is making up places. He is up 4 spots now into 9th.
Well, certainly, definitely a little bit of cold tire syndrome kicked in there as Nico Colby, ladies and gentlemen, looking to try and make some moves now. He's applying a good bit of pressure there to the number 31 car of Richard Petit, and it's fair to say he's managed to get it done up on the inside of that Corvette.
He certainly has. Looking good for the moment is Nico Colby. David Gallant up into 8th spot, gaining 1 spot, with Drew Martin and CJ Conklin ahead doing the same thing. Brent Souza is falling behind again. This time Quinn Manders has gotten the move done on him. I also saw Amrit Vestrala run wide out of Beckett's. He cut across the runoff area at Chapel, so he's starting to lose touch ever more with Artis Veldra, who now skips away and leads by nearly 2 seconds at the end of the first lap. On board with Quinn Manders here as he tries his best to put some space between himself and Souza.
Yeah, it's fair to say these two cars are pretty differently matched here. Certainly the Porsche has always been an absolute beast in the braking zones. Very nimble, very agile. The BMW, a little bit more neutral, I'd say. Definitely a little bit more the stable cars, I'd say, in the GT3 field. Certainly the Lamborghini known for having the back end will not overtake the front. But I've got to say, Quinn Manders definitely getting in there on that sponsorship deal. Promoting Podium 1 racing very well with that absolutely beautiful livery. Don't get me wrong, it's not the most flamboyant, but does it get to the point? Yes, it does. As now Darwin Hansen, ladies and gentlemen, getting a bit of pressure from Amrit Vestrala for P2. Yeah, Vestrala fell behind him coming into turn 1. He got a slowdown from his excursion off track at Beckett's on the last lap. So that is a let by for second when Vestrala was clearing the slowdown.
Let's see if he has the pace to get back by Hansen. That's a great exit from Luffield, Zippy.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there, and you're going to see he's going to try and make his way up on the outside, ladies and gentlemen. I got to say, absolutely fantastic stuff so far, and this time we've got AMG versus AMG, and it looks like Amrit has not been able to make his way by. He's definitely got some wicked exit speed, but not yet enough to make that Mercedes move right onto P2.
Yeah, he tried the over-under at Cops, but it's that's a corner where it's very difficult to pull off. He'll need to focus on the exit onto the hangar straight. This is where he made the mistake on the last lap. Cold tyres still a factor here on the new GT3 tyre model, which is spreading to more and more cars as we speak. CJ Conklin is holding on here in the Acura NSX, but he leads a 4-car battle. David Gallant, Nico Colby, and Pierce Fox. Have a look at Fox. He has gained quite a bit of time on the previous lap. He is right on the back of these guys now. The Porsche of Nico Colby, a little bit wide through Stowe, but he nails the exit. Let's see if he has the move past CJ Conklin here. Not quite. Conklin, though, runs deep into Vale.
Yeah, Conklin actually able to get a little bit there ahead. I think you meant David Gallant. Sorry, Reese, just to call you out on that one. But certainly Gallant definitely under a little bit of pressure right now. But very gallantly, I might add, holding off Nico Colby right behind, who's actually the hard charger in the grid. Up 6 positions so far in that beautiful white and blue Porsche, but currently under some pressure there. The Mustang of Pierce Fox, the number 8 car, is very much in pursuit now as he's dropped back a little bit as they head there into the right-hander.
Yeah, both Colby and Fox did not set times in qualifying. So this is the first time we're really getting a read on their pace. That is wide, very wide out of the loop. And, well, gravel there is not going to save you. Big oversteer for Nico Colby. He recovers nicely, though, and he has lost time to David Gallant and CJ Conklin. Now Pierce Fox sees an opportunity to move up another position.
Yeah, certainly Pierce Fox, he's currently running in the gold class, and I take 100% the blame for that. He didn't have a classing for him before he came in. We looked at his iRating, and he was third in practice, ladies and gentlemen, so we're like, okay, you're going in gold. Executive decision has been made, but right now there is indeed a battle for himself and Nico Colby. Further up through the field, Drew Martin and CJ Conklin now going at it with David Gallant in pursuit. This is a freeway battle in the bronze class, ladies and gentlemen, and definitely the spiciest action we got going on track right now.
Yeah, good stuff with Drew Martin leading the way here in the number 6 BMW, but it's close between Conklin and Gallant now. David making some nice lunges forward through the Beckett's S's, and he's nailed the exit onto the hangar straight. He'll pick up the slipstream on the Acura, move to the inside of Stowe. Got to be careful on the brakes here. It's a hard braking zone, but a fast corner. Got to be careful not to wash out. Conklin gives him the room and ultimately yields on the exit of the corner.
Yeah, definitely very close battle there. And I think there may have been a little bit of survival instinct going on there from CJ. And I got to say, I can't fault him for that in the slightest, because look right behind him. Nico Colby now, another one in the Bronze Championship. He's keen to get into this battle. We have a 4-way fight now, all the way from P1 down to P4 with Pierce Fox, the gold-rated driver. He's looking to get in on that action as well. Now, his race is not with them. It's further up through the field, but I'm starting to wonder, is he getting held back a little bit? Certainly, he's doing trying to do one of the last to first challenges right now. He's up 3 positions. There's Nico Colby there making a move on the inside of CJ Conklin, and it looks like Pierce Fox is going, I'll have some of that. Makes his way up on the inside as well. Now, definitely not what Conklin wanted for sure, but is this going to be an opportunity for him? Certainly, when you get a fast driver ahead of you, it can be an opportunity for a really good slipstream, ladies and gentlemen. This could be a blessing in disguise.
It certainly could. He did run a bit deep into the loop, though. He's going to try again on CJ Conklin. He almost made the move up the inside of the Mustang at Brooklands, but oh man, he's very deep on the brakes. I think he might be trying to keep up with these guys. Potentially, it would be a better idea to get on the brakes a bit earlier and just stick behind them and make a move elsewhere. But CJ is going to be trying his best to hold on to that gap there. Gallant, meanwhile, has caught up to Martin, and it looks like Colby is going to follow him here as well. Martin maybe picking up an off-track there out of Cops. That's deep from the Mustang into Maggots. Oh, that was very cheeky indeed. Oh, this could get interesting. Oh, that's a big twitch there from David Gallant. He carried a bit too much speed through the corner. This is turning into a very entertaining battle, and both cars now have a run on Drew Martin. Are we going to see 3 wide into Stowe?
I'm definitely hoping for it, but it looks like Nico Colby's actually there giving Drew Martin a little bit of a push there, saying, come on, get going. I want to get moving. And it's actually paid off for him. He's managed to make the place. Fantastic stuff. But Gallen isn't taking it without a fight. Look at that.
Oh, God.
Here's Fox coming. Oh, my word. That's not going to end well. Oh.
Oh, no. 3 wide into Vale and Club. I did enjoy that, but I don't think Drew Martin did. He was stuck in the middle of all of that. He had a Porsche to his right, and then out of nowhere, a Mustang to his left. They got on the brakes, and it looks like that was Colby that made the contact there that turned him around. And unfortunately, that has involved Pierce Fox as well. So Fox now down a couple more positions. Martin has gotten going again. That car looks damaged. He's just weaving it a little bit to check if the suspension's okay. But yeah, far from ideal for the number 6.
I got to admit, I think you sort of saw that coming, and it was almost like you knew you was going to get checked against the boards, and there wasn't really a lot he could do for it, but very entertaining. I got to admit, I enjoyed that maybe a little bit too much here. It's David Gallant now. He's in the lead there for the bronze for this bronze class here, and he's got Nico Colby right behind him. So we do still have a battle, ladies and gentlemen, albeit it's a few less cars in the mix. CJ Conklin's dropped back to about 2.5 seconds back, but in a very stable position. Here's Fox. He's about another 2.5 seconds behind. So this is going to give Conklin a little bit of breathing room right now. But CJ's in a good spot, but Nico Colby now up 8 positions in the race so far. The hard charger of the event, looking to try and get P1 in bronze as it stands.
Indeed. Now, there is no incident limit in this race, and evidently Nico Colby has taken advantage of that. He does not have an official lap time to his name yet. No official fastest lap, because he's gotten an off track on every lap he's done so far in this race. He is pushing the limits. That's deep for the Mustang. The door opens to the inside, and Nico Colby gets it done out of stow, but it looks like Gallant's still going out the inside for Vale and Club. That's very deep indeed, but Colby is positioning his car perfectly for a good run. He's going to get up the inside of Club now. Don't usually see drivers running side by side through there. He had to lift off, and David Gallant will hold on to the position.
I've got to admit, I'm starting to think this no incident limit racing could be the way to go. These guys are not... There's no elbows being, withdrawn. It's all elbows out, and it's an absolute belter so far.
Yeah, this is a great battle. Colby. He's moving his car everywhere to try and unsettle David Gallant somehow, but that 454 has held strong throughout the race so far. Colby, though, the most positions gained in the field, up 8 places. He's turning into a proper contender in this one. Considering the lap times that they have been setting, might be able to catch up to Brent Souza if he'll be able to get by David Gallant. But for the moment, the Mustang is nailing the exit of the most crucial corners on the lap. Silverstone's a high-speed track, Zippy, but traction is incredibly important around here too.
Yeah, certainly. I've always struggled with Silverstone, honestly. It's not on the Princess approved track list race. I mean, let's be real, I'm a little bit of a fussy one, but certainly right now these drivers are doing an absolutely fantastic job, and I'm absolutely loving the battle so far. Don't get me wrong, 3 wide never usually ends well, but it is very entertaining from the broadcast group. Because right now, Quinn Manders was getting a little bit of pressure there from Brent Souza, so you got to wonder as well, are we going to see a fight here for second place in the Silver Championship?
Yeah, I have to wonder. Looks like backing off a little bit there was Souza through Stowe. They briefly showed as being more than a second apart. So we'll see. Our top 3 is well spaced out, by the way. Veldra is now out in front by 6.2 seconds, which is frankly insane. Hansen's still keeping Vestrala behind him, and Souza for the moment doesn't seem to be making much of a dent into Quinn Manders. That's your top 3, and then the battle between Colby and Gallant. It looks like the move has finally been made by the number 16.
Yeah, we'll take a quick look at that replay in just a second, Reese. I have a feeling Mr. Gallant, the Canadian driver, I don't think he's going to take that line down. CJ Conklin's been able to catch up a second as well. As you see there, just going like a cheeky. Looking to put a little bit of a nose in there. Now, High Point Racing, I have a feeling I've come across before, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly these drivers, when I've experienced them, they're definitely on the spicy side, but don't get me wrong, they are potent in a GT3. And I certainly know a few people who want to try and bring an extra challenge to him. But it looks like David Gallant is very much staying with the back of that Porsche, but we will take a quick look at that replay.
Yeah, we will. And well, I think you might have to go to another one, Zippy, because Richard Pettit and Scott Laurenti seem to have come together. That's how the move was made. Very nicely done up the inside of Club, and through he went. Now, Pettit looks like he had Laurenti behind him, and the Corvette runs wide and spins, and Laurenti was going for the right-hand side of the circuit, but that door closed. That's a real shame for Scott Laurenti. He's now retired from the race and will not get a result from this round. The battle continuing between Colby and Gallant, but this is something that I've noticed from Gallant all through this race. He tends to go a bit too deep into those high-speed corners in the Beckett's S's. That's cost him a lot of time.
Yeah, certainly they're very, very different driving styles back there, but Reese, I might have just missed that in there, but I could have sworn that David Hansen got within a second. It must be between himself and Pastrana there. I thought we had something else going on, but it looks like Brent Souza, he's staying very much with Quinn Manders now. Quinn Manders put in a very good battle so far. I'd say these guys have literally switched positions from where they started. Yeah, they have in class and on the overall position here. So it looks like Brent Souza maybe saving a little bit of fuel here behind the number 13 driver.
He's looking a little hesitant on turn-in the high-speed stuff, so maybe it's a comfort thing for Souza. I'm not too sure. I certainly know that in many races I've done, I haven't felt really comfortable with a car, but I've been able to concentrate enough to put together a great qualifying lap, and then I struggle a little bit through the race to maintain that pace. Potentially the same thing is happening to Souza, but he's going to get a free position. Quinn Manders spins at Brooklands.
Yeah, that definitely is not what he wanted to happen. Looks like the Porsche's maybe struggling a little bit of tire temp on the back end of these things. We've seen a couple of them go around there, certainly at the start of the race, but I'd imagine he would have had a bit of heat in there so far, maybe a little bit too much heat, in fact. But what does that mean now for Quinn Manders? Is he going to have Nico Colby coming up behind him? Currently about 2.6 seconds back. Looks like he has finally cleared David Gallant, but for how long? As we see a battle happening further back through the field, ladies and gentlemen, this time between Clayton Maguire and Maynard Fetters.
Battle of the McLarens for lucky 13th. So Fetters has a couple of goes at the steering into Village and then into the loop. Oh, you can see the rear end threatening to break free, but Maguire has run deep in the loop, and that's the position taken for Maynard Fetters, who's had to recover from his incident early on when I believe it was Colby that spun at Brooklands on lap 1. Either that or Jack Minter. It was one of the Porsches. It was Minter. Yeah, this incident happened on lap 1. It was Minter re-entering the track and Fetters going for a spin. Well, Fetters now has worked his way up to down one position on where he started, and looks like he'll be well clear of Clayton Maguire. Let's hope that he can gain a little bit more time. He's got so much time to make up. It's something like 23 seconds to the next car for position, so unlikely that we'll see him catch up unless there's a crash.
Well, I think there is one thing that we are missing with these two drivers there, Reese. And it looks like Clayton Maguire is actually still on a rookie license. So, and looking at his iRating, knowing that you start at 1350, I'd say he's probably not been on the sim for too long. And you know what? He's already driving a GT3 car. I think he's doing a pretty good job of it, and he's having some fun. He's having a little bit of a battle there with Maynard Fetters. Maynard Fetters about 1,000 iRating, ladies and gentlemen. So it just goes to show, especially as well, that it doesn't matter what your iRating is, you can still find somebody to race with and have some good fun with, which is honestly exactly what we like to see.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like you'll have someone to race with just about anywhere in this field. Speaking of racing, Nico Colby's caught up to Quinn Manders here, and it's become a battle of the Porsches for the last place in the top 5. Hard on the brakes into Cops. Of course, these being GT cars, you do have to brake for Cops. And Colby once again running a bit wide of the curb there, but I'm happy to point out he does now have an official fastest lap to his name, a 2:03.18. That is 4/10 faster than Quinn Manders' fastest lap. And at the moment, Colby is taking big chunks of time out of him. Manders actually lost about 5 or 6 seconds on the previous lap. I think something happened to him.
Yeah, we saw him spin out on that one, I think it was.
Oh, we did too. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
That's all right, Reese. It's early for you.
Evidently, less time had passed than I had imagined. There's been an awful lot going on in this race. Sometimes my temporal perspective can shift. Well, there's your previous lap times, and yeah, about 6.5 seconds being taken out of Colby on the last lap thanks to that spin across the line. They come to begin the next lap, and that's another 8/10 that Colby has taken out. So he is on an absolute charge right now.
Yeah, he's definitely potent, but that looks like a little bit of damage maybe on the right front corner of that wing there. I'm not too sure, Reese. Don't hold me to it, but I do have some suspicions there. That's good of him. Gets close enough so we can get a good look.
Looks all right to me. Maybe a couple of curb strikes here and there, but that's par for the course. GT3s at Silverstone, they love to clamber all over these curbs. Nice and deep in Brooklands. Gains that mid-corner speed.
Snip, snip.
All the way across the curb. Absolutely. He'll be getting a good whiff of those exhaust fumes from the naturally aspirated flat-six engine that this Porsche 911 GT3R uses. Of course, slung over the rear axle, this being a Porsche. So the driving dynamics of this car are a little different to the other GT3s, but it really makes its pace nicely. The Porsche in recent seasons has struggled a bit for straight line speed. So Silverstone should be one of the Porsche's weaker tracks, but they are making a really good run of this one right now. Just got to concentrate on the exit onto the hangar straight, and Colby will potentially make it 10 positions up from where he started. Great mid-corner speed through Beckett's, carries the momentum through Chapel, and now pulls out down the hangar straight.
Yeah, I don't think Quinn Manders is going to give this without a good fight. Plenty of space being left there, but certainly David Gallant, he's got a good row seat for this battle. If Quinn Manders can hold him back a little bit, it could bring David Gallant back into the battle, and maybe a chance to have another deuce there with Nico Colby. Oh, that's the end of that.
There goes Quinn Manders into the pits. Of course, a pit stop, I believe, is required in this race, and it looks like the drivers are leaving it late to do that. Richard Pettit came into the pits a lap ago. He had 11.6 seconds in the box to his name, so that's the comparison point. Let's see how Quinn Manders does in the lane.
Yeah, I think he just decided on that one, you know what, this isn't worth the battle is going to slow me down, and taking the tactical decision to come in and pit. Gotta say, fair play to him. I mean, it might work for him. I'm not really too sure at this point as Drew Martin comes down pit road.
He does indeed, Drew Martin. Continuing to carry that damage from his earlier incident. And, well, let's see if he can get some of that repaired. Is there fast repairs in this one? They do have one fast repair to use in this session, so undoubtedly Martin's going to use it here.
Yeah, we should see that right front. Yeah, get a little bit more fixed up. A beautiful view of that exhaust pipe, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Wait for it.
And...
No? Did he not use it? I'm looking. I guess he chose not to take a fast repair.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
That's definitely still bonked.
Yeah. Maybe that'll definitely be affecting the straight line speed of the car. So, well, fair enough. Martin comes back out. 13.4 seconds in the box for him. Bit slower than we saw for Richard Pettit. Quinn Manders with 15 seconds in the lane. I get the feeling that's going to put him behind Pierce Fox now. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Actually, no, Manders battling with Colby. It's probably going to put him behind Gallant at this stage if David Gallant can nail his pit stop. For now, Nico continuing to make time on Gallant as We find our way to 9 laps to go. The battles have fizzled out a little bit here as drivers in battles have come into the lane. We'll see how long these guys wait to come in. CJ Conklin is the next car to make his way into the pits.
Yeah, certainly for a second there, I'm not quite sure what happened, but Nico Colby dropped about a second off of David Gallant there. Gallant able to catch back up. So I think we would see potentially another battle from those guys. Certainly, it was absolutely fantastic fun. As the league organizer, ladies and gentlemen, CJ Conklin does indeed make his way down pit road. The only Acura in the field. Now, when that Acura first came out, it was a very hot commodity, but certainly, I think with the BOPs, it's become a little bit less desirable. Reese, you drive the GT3s a little bit more. What can you tell us about that Acura?
I drive them a little bit more, but nowhere near enough to give you an informed perspective on this. But yeah, the Acura was the car to have about a season or so ago. Evidently, with the tire, and actually that was in the latter stages of the old tire model for the GT3s. When they all switched to the new one, it seems that it's varied things up a little more, and drivers have gravitated back towards the car that they decide would suit them. I'm sure that's going to change again when the Aston Martin Vantage is finally added to the GT3 class in the next season update in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. It'd be great to see an Aston Martin back in the sim. Don't get me wrong, we got the GT1, we got the GT4, but definitely underrepresented. Represented. Oh my gosh, I'm an Englishman who can't speak English. If my work colleagues hear that, I'm done for, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm sure you'll remind them of that. Thanks, Reese. But in the friendliest way. But David Gallant has managed to take a big chunk out of Nico Colby again. And you see that right late on the brakes there. Very, very different driving styles between these two drivers.
Yeah, he's getting on the brakes late, but slowing it up right at the apex. He's getting all of his braking done as late as possible. So in the short term, that is gaining him time, but it might be putting his front tires through the ringer. We'll need to see how that ends up affecting the rest of the lap there. But Gallant now starting to make up some time on Nico Colby, who is once again looking a little bit slower now. A 2-minute 0.6 on the previous lap for Nico Colby. Gallant a 1:59.9. So Nico Colby with this magnificent run up through the field. He's made his way to the front of the bronze class. Maybe he's just backing off now to try and consolidate the lead, or is he making those micro errors? Have his tires given him too much, or has he been asking too much of the tires? We'll have to wait and see. What is for sure is David Gallant is starting to gain, and Colby is going off the track.
Yeah, certainly we know that Colby's definitely a little bit averse to track limits there. It's here comes Gallant, ladies and gentlemen. And that Mustang looks like a bit of a brute in comparison to that very nimble Porsche, but he's already able to get that move done. But for how long? Is Colby maybe have a similar kind of thing that I do, where he certainly, if he gets left in open air, he starts to struggle, starts to flounder a little bit there. He needs somebody to battle with. Or was he, was he just overworking those tires to the point now where just the limit of grip is just not there for him? Is he going to be needing that pit stop sooner rather than later just to let these tires cool down?
That is the question. Well, he gets the run out of Beckett's, and he will have a move into Stowe. He decides to go for it around the outside on the racing line, bit later on the brakes, and no. Turn down a bit. Understeer for the Mustang, and Nico Colby will have, he's going to follow Gallant into the pits there. There was an attempt, but they've lost collectively a bit of time there. Pierce Fox going to follow them into pit lane. Looks like Brent Souza comes in ahead of them. So that's just going to leave our top three plus Jack Minter and Clayton Maguire yet to take a pit stop.
I got a feeling we're going to get a very fun four-way battle in just a second, Reese. I'm really hoping for it. Don't get me wrong, Brent Souza did come in that little bit early. He's about 2.8 seconds ahead, but I have a feeling there's going to be more. As Jack Minter now, he's just absolutely slingshot his way past, ladies and gentlemen. But don't get me wrong, he's I believe he's yet to make a pit stop.
He is, yeah. He's still got to come into the pits. So variance on times here. Souza with the quickest stop of them, but a raft of 14-second stops for these three. It looks like Pierce Fox has made up some time in the pits there. He has the quickest run through pit lane of anyone in this race so far.
Absolutely, yeah, he really wasn't in there one. 11.65. Don't get me wrong, Brent Souza was pretty quick as well with 11.82. Both of the two drivers there, Gallant and Colby. Oh no, that's one of the McLaren drivers. I think that's Maynard.
Yeah, it is. It's Maynard Fetters who's had a spin coming through the loop, and looks like he was a bit wide of the apex and just lost the rear end. I think those tires are past their best now. Actually, no, they aren't. They're still coming up to temperature. He only just came out of the pits, did Maynard Fetters. Back to the battle here. David Gallant and Nico Colby. Gallant able to make his way back past him as Colby's pace dropped off out of nowhere on the last couple of laps into the pits. Our top three, meanwhile, have all come into the pit lane. So we'll see if there's any extra potential here for Amrit Vestrala to get past Darwin Hansen for overall second place. Artis Veldra comes in a long way ahead. Oh, they are very close. It looks like Amrit maybe went deep on the brakes into the pits to try and gain some time there. He slowed it down in time for the pit speed limit. Veldra's done with his stop by the time Vestrala and Hansen get there, as Jack Minter is going to make his way into the lane as well. As there we go, Darwin Hansen is away, and Amrit Vestrala with a pit stop 0.8 of a second longer. Looks like Hansen will be safe in second for now.
Well, that certainly definitely isn't going to be safe, and that's David Gallant. I got to say, I'm feeling a little bit guilty here. These two drivers getting a good portion of the screen time, but understandably so. It's been an absolutely fantastic battle. It almost makes you think of the Minis versus the Mustang. Certainly the Porsche, it's not a tiny car, but it's definitely very, very different characteristics there. And all that Pierce Fox can do from this point is sit by and watch as these two drivers are absolutely stealing the show so far.
Well, I think that might be what Pierce Fox wants. When you're looking at two drivers battling ahead of you, you want them to battle. You want them to go side by side through every corner and slow each other up so that you can become a part of the battle yourself.
Absolutely, and certainly whenever there's a bit of drafting involved, if these guys go single file, that's it, they just check out. They start going side to side, as you said, it increases the odds. Not only that, it makes it more entertaining as well, but right behind Pierce Fox, you can see Quinn Manders there. Don't get me wrong, a little bit unfortunate to have that spin earlier, but definitely probably one of my favorite paints on the grid. But right now, I know that one's your favorite, Reese, but right now, I've got to say, David Gallant, the Canadian driver, is doing an absolutely fantastic job. These cars couldn't be any different, but what an absolutely fantastic show so far.
Yeah, these guys have had a great fight all the way through this race. We are inside 10 minutes to go, meanwhile, so this is where the money is made, so to speak. Good exit from Cops for David Gallant, and Nico Colby has an opportunity to keep him behind here through these very fast corners where you can't go side by side. Nails the apex, running over the curbs, and out onto the hangar straight they come. Great exit from Nico Colby. Looks like he'll keep Gallant behind him for now.
Yeah, certainly I think that the Porsche should have that advantage there in the corners, but the Mustang is notoriously quick in the straights. Don't get me wrong, both of these cars, certainly the Porsche today has been a little bit loose at the rear end. The Mustang definitely known to be a little bit loose at the rear end as well. These guys running fixed apps as well, but look at it, really, surprisingly, in the braking zone, Gallant seems to be a lot more potent, much later on the brakes, but Colby's absolutely obliterating him on the corner exit.
Yeah, certainly, and that's two different ways of getting around this circuit being displayed there, and I think Nico Colby's method is working a bit better. David Gallant is going late at every braking zone to try and gain as much time there as possible, but it's hurting his exits, and Silverstone is a track where you need to nail the exits of the corners. You've got these long straights coming up where you'll just lose even more time.
Well, I hate to do this to the guy who got us the broadcast, but ladies and gentlemen, something happened with CJ Conklin. Don't get me wrong, it does give you a little bit of a breather, but unfortunate. Well handled, though. I've got to say, a beautiful smoke show as he brings it back around.
Yeah, indeed. CJ, a little bit loose on the way into club. Well, Colby and Gallant, they set a 2-minute .32 and a 2-minute .78 respectively on the previous lap. Meanwhile, Pierce Fox set a 2-minute .1. So He is gaining and gaining hard. This could become a three-way battle soon, maybe even a four-way battle if Brent Souza can be caught up in the last few laps. Souza was nearly a second slower than Colby on the previous lap.
Yeah, certainly it really is going to be a last bit of a battle here. Certainly we've got about 8 minutes left to go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, can Colby catch up? Certainly he's got to do the legwork, but right behind him, David Gallant's there, and I think Pierce Fox is starting to catch up as well.
Yep, so into Stowe. See a bit more gain on his fellow Mustang, cranking on the wheel lock there through Stowe. They are pushing the tyres very hard here. It's a nice, cool track. Started out at only 20 degrees Celsius, and it's only gone up 1 degree since then. We are racing in morning conditions here, so the track does get a tiny bit hotter as the session progresses, but we're still very much in the very cold morning conditions in Northamptonshire, with David Gallant now nailing the run through the first two corners here, and that is deep into the village curve. He's gotten it done. How did he do that?
He must have had an anchor in that Mustang, but I've got to say, it came from a long way back. I thought it was a bit ambitious, but he got it done, albeit temporarily there, as something's happened with Pierce Fox now. I think he was enjoying the show a little bit too much, as he's gone had a little bit of a whoopsie.
He has indeed. Colby defends from Gallant for the moment, and this happened through the loop. Turns in, and on the exit, the rears just break free. Yeah, you need to get on power as soon as you can out of that corner, but if you're turning the car too much at the point you get to full throttle in like first gear in the Mustang, then it is going to turn around. So Pierce Fox pushing a bit too hard there. He will lose a spot to Quinn Manders and leave these two to battle alone. Colby versus Gallant, and David's gotten his pace back.
Yeah, certainly David has been an absolute weapon. I didn't realise, though, on that occasion, Pierce Fox being a Belinda Carlisle fan, which, don't get me wrong, I might have got the right eyes for that, but turn around. Yeah, I'd mute me for that one too, Reese.
Fair enough. Isn't it Bonnie Tyler? Nico Colby will find his way through Stowe and make it 3 laps to go for these drivers. Artis Veldra, meanwhile, already on lap 18 here, and coming into Brooklands is untroubled, and it seems no competition for him up the front of this field. He's nailing every corner with Darwin Hansen a strong second. He's held on to that one from early on as the Corvette of Richard Pettit is around at Brooklands. Gets back onto the track in a nice gap, so no harm done there. Amrit Vestrala has been holding on to third since the very start of the race. Evidently, the qualifying lap that put him on the front row, he couldn't quite keep that relative pace up in the early laps of the race, and he's been stuck in third there for the majority of the race here. The hardest battle on track is this one between Colby and Gallant for 5th. Who's going to end up getting it is the question. Colby is continuing to push the track limits through every single corner, and he's been catching the gravel at crucial points, which is giving Gallant the advantage. Gallant may be going deep into the corners, but at least he's keeping it on track on the exits, and there's the over-under. Oh, no, they're around. Contact through Cops. Nico Colby is around, and David Gallant will continue on. Oh, dear. I think half of me is saying Colby kind of did that to himself there. Going really wide out of Luffield, that completely ruined his exit down the start-finish straight. And he tried to get the move done there on David Gallant, but yeah, I think to be fair to Colby, Gallant could have afforded to stay on the curb there to give him a bit more room, but they were both pushing very hard at that point.
Yeah, certainly the different perspectives, I think it's going to give you a different view. You can see there's Gallant on the edge. It almost feels like he gets a little bit of a bash there from the outside.
Yeah,
let's take a look at it from Colby's point of view.
So Colby moves up the inside there, and I think Yeah, I mean, he was already angling towards the right side of the track. I don't think Colby really did anything wrong in that specific instance. Yeah, it's weird. Actually, looks like Gallant has towed back to the pits. Oh dear, there's been further problems there. That's another view of the incident. So Gallant and Colby come together. Now, what happened to Gallant? He gained some damage from the contact with Colby, and he just goes straight on into Beckett's, and I think he just decided to call it a night there.
Honestly, I think that was maybe a little bit of sportsmanship there. They had a really good battle. They had a lot of fun, and with this being the stage that it's at, I think he just said, you know what, I don't know who to pin the responsibility on. Sometimes there isn't somebody to pin it on, ladies and gentlemen. That's not how incidents necessarily work. But I think it was... I'm going with my more optimistic judgment that they went, you know what, we had a little bit of an incident. It was good fun, but, you know... And he's gone and almost, like, shooted himself on that avenue.
Yeah, so Nico Colby still running, albeit in 6th place. He'll have to try and catch back up to Quinn Manders here on the final lap of the race that he will begin very shortly. The final lap has already begun for Artis Veldra, out in front by now 14.5 seconds. Crazy run from Artis, and I always like to say on other broadcasts that if we haven't given much airtime to the leader, that means that they're having a great race. And, well, case in point, Artis Veldra all alone for position.
Yeah, definitely. It's he's been a potent weapon. I do believe we're going to have to introduce him to the one and only Austin Dilts and Parker Dime. I have a feeling that these two guys would give him a run for his money. Yeah, WBM, we are indeed calling you out to try and try your luck here at the Podium 1 Open Championship.
Let's see. Artis Veldra find his way through to Copse, and... well, he's been nailing the run through the Beckett's S's this whole time. I love these static cameras just showing what the cars go through in this section of the circuit. The direction change that you need through this part of Silverstone is incredible. And that's one of my favorite sequences of corners that doesn't have any elevation change. Out of the exit onto the hangar straight, top speed running up to about 247 kilometers per hour. The Lamborghini is looking supreme here around Silverstone, and he's been nailing every single corner exit as well. Artis Veldra will find his way to victory here in round 2 of the Podium 1 Open Championship, and this is a well-earned victory, to be sure. Started from pole and didn't look back. Round 6. Man, Artis Veldra, I mean, what more can you say about him that hasn't already been said? Darwin Hansen, a quiet but strong race to finish in second, Zippy.
I gotta say, I'm really liking the paint on this one as well, Reese. Loving the chrome, very beautiful. Very artistic as well. He manages to get second place, actually first in class as well. As Amrit of Estrella there, he gets P2 in gold, makes his way over third overall.
Yeah, good job there from Amrit Vestrala. Brent Souza, meanwhile, is going to come across the line in 4th overall. It was once again a quiet race. He did have some battling early on, but all he needed to do was keep it clean, and he's earned himself a top 4. Very nicely done indeed. And Quinn Manders, who we hadn't seen much of since his unfortunate lose in Brooklands, is going to come away with a top 5 where he started. Very nicely done indeed. Nico Colby recovering to 6th after his contact with David Gallant. Good job there. And it looks like the rest of the field is separated by quite some margin, about 7 to 20 seconds each.
Yeah, certainly. And one thing we maybe haven't done too much of this time round, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the class results here as well.
So Veldra, Vestrala, and Fox are your top 3 there, with Fox finishing in 7th place. Hansen, Souza, Manders, and Maguire round out the silver class, and Colby winning bronze. I guess that's what mainly matters for him. getting the points that he needs there to keep that championship lead over everyone else. Minter, Martin, Pettit, Fetters, and Gallant. Well, it's a real shame for David Gallant with a retirement. He will get no points from this 6th round. So those then are your overall results as everybody has gotten to the flag that was able to get there. Ultimately having 10 cars finish on the lead lap with Pettit and Fetters finishing 1 lap down, Gallant retiring 2 laps from the end, Maguire 2 laps down with Scott Laurenti retiring early on, a contact with Richard Pettit, I believe, that he couldn't do much about. And Daniel Blanco, well, he was in the session, but didn't take part in any session tonight. So hopefully we see Daniel back out there at some point for the next round of the championship next week. For now, Zippy, it looks like we may move into driver interviews. We have CJ Conklin and Drew Martin in the pit in the box there, but well, I'll leave it up to you to decide who we talk to first.
Well, it only seems fitting, Reese, that we should indeed get the grid or get the league organizer in first and give him not only just a chance to celebrate his P2 in class, but also promote the league a little bit more as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. CJ Conklin. Reese, do the honors.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
how you
CJ.
Doing? How you doing?
Yeah. Doing quite well, and I suppose you are too. Finishing where you started, but ultimately a solid race here at Silverstone. Looked like some good battling going on there.
Oh, there was. It was kind of scary the first few laps, and then I had Jack Minter, which is him and I are battling all season for points. I saw him have a few mistakes in the beginning, and then I had a mistake, and then he just was chopping down the time as we were getting close.
Well, ultimately, you finish about 7 seconds or so ahead of him, so a good result here from the 6th round of this championship. Can you just give us an idea as to what this league is all about and what's coming?
This league is about 3 companies together. It's Grid Finder, it's Rafa Racing, and Podium 1. And what we're doing is we're just going to build a big community about racing. And Rafa Racing is, as you know, is a real race team out there worldwide. On Podium 1, we build simulator turnkeys, which is pretty awesome. That's how I got on board. Sim racing, and it's in our backyard. So that's how I ended up becoming part of the team.
Excellent stuff. And this championship has been organized in collaboration. It's gotten a solid amount of drivers here for its first season. And it's looking like some good pace being brought to the table as well.
Yes, part of an endurance team. You're probably another P1 artist. You'll interview him. He's super fast, super nice guy. He's helped me get along in the sim world here.
Lovely stuff. We go to Nürburgring Grand Prix for next week's race, and I gotta wonder how the field's going to go there, because it's a very different circuit to Silverstone. It's got a lot of varying track widths. The curbs are a bit more brutal, and you do have that very slippery arena section at the start of the lap, which could cause some chaos on lap 1.
Oh yeah, turn 1 is going to be kind of chaos. I love the Grand Prix Nürburgring. This track was not my favorite. It's flat. I love some elevation. I love a lot of turns. So I'm hoping to do a little better out next week.
Well, here's hoping, CJ. Thank you very much for joining us. Is there anyone else you want to shout out before we let you go?
Oh, thanks to my wife, of course, for putting up with this for 2 years running.
Of course. Well, we'll let CJ celebrate his class podium there. Thanks very much for joining us, mate.
All right, thank you.
And Zippy, I believe the next driver we're going to talk to is our winner, Artis Veldra.
Hey, how are you guys?
Artis, I gotta say, you are an absolute weapon behind the wheel of that Lamborghini. Tell us a little bit about how you pulled off such a commanding lead.
I did put quite a bit of work this week. Looking at all of the fixed official races, I realized in the top split, no one's running Lamborghini. So I figured it's going to be an uphill challenge. But yeah, I definitely, did the work, went through telemetry, and trying to understand where these gaps are for me to kind of get that quali lap down. And yeah, just everything fell into right places. Was good execution on quali, and then it was important to make the first first couple of turns really clean, so that cold tires don't catch me or anyone behind me off guard.
Well, certainly, having driven the Lambo, I love it for the sound effect. And don't get me wrong, you drove it a lot better than I did. But Artis, what an absolutely fantastic result. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out for today's performance at Silverstone?
Speed Designs Motorsports cooked up a new livery for me for this race, and I think that added the extra 30 horsepower that I needed.
Well, they're going to have to do me a couple of paints, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly I could do with the extra help. But ladies and gentlemen, your outright winner and indeed winner of the gold class today, Mr. Artis Veldrew.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Lovely stuff from Artis there, dominant all the way through, and finishing second to him was Darwin Hansen. A quiet one for you there, Hansen, with the pass being made on Amrit Vestrala early on. All you had to do was manage the pace and collect those points.
Yeah, truly great race today. One of the first races in this series that I actually ran a nice clean race for myself. Pretty happy with myself just for being able to run the pace with those guys, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a tough job to keep that consistency up at Silverstone. It's very easy to put a wheel into the gravel on the exit of some of these corners.
Yeah, I've actually, to be honest with you, struggled there all week. Could not find the pace, and just thankfully my teammate Artis, we worked together a little bit last night, and I found a little bit of extra pace, and it really paid off. Our Speed Designs AMG was on point tonight.
Well, Nürburgring and Okayama round out the season there. Which of those two tracks do you think you're going to be stronger at?
The Nürburgring for sure. Okayama and me is not my strongest point, but whereas I'm fighting for a points championship with Quinn Manders, I'm going to go put some time in and see if I can't find that consistency that I need to maybe take this silver championship.
Yeah, well, you finished 3 positions ahead of Quinn Manders in this race, so that's a solid haul of championship points that you have in the bag coming into Nürburgring. Is there anyone you want to thank for that result before we let you go?
I want to thank Steve Palladino and CJ Conklin for putting this series on, and the whole group of guys I got at Speed Designs Endurance. We all work together, and we have a great Discord of guys, and we're really happy to be doing this good with Artis and leading his championship, and now with me in a solid second at least, or maybe close to first. I really appreciate everybody's hard work and efforts, and was a great day. Really happy with myself.
As you should be, mate. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, and I look forward to it. Cheers.
Darwin Hansen there. Final driver interview for the night, Zippy. And, well, for this series debut on Pit Road Productions, that was a solid action-packed race.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Nico Colby, what an absolutely fantastic battle you gave us. Tell us a little bit about what was going through your head there, having that fantastic battle there with Mr. David Gallant.
Yeah, that was a really fun battle with him. We definitely battled a lot. Was a little bit sketchy battles, but it was fun. And just really fun racing tonight.
Yeah, I definitely got the vibe. Certainly we did observe that yourself and Track Limits were... well, you didn't really care for him too much, and don't get me wrong, I actually really enjoyed the result. You couldn't have seen a battle any more different yourself. Certainly in the braking zone, he had you beat, but on corner exit, you were the man for sure, and it was absolutely fantastic. I'm starting to wonder now, is this a new kind of racing that maybe we could see a little bit more of there by just having drivers who do indeed drive respectfully, but do use all of the car, use all of the track, and it certainly made for a really good show. Now, don't get me wrong, the contact we saw between yourselves at the end, we wasn't really too sure how to call that. What would be your opinion about what happened there?
I think it was just tight racing, and I think we just got a little bit mixed up, and we got a little bit close, and we just spun.
Well, definitely a fantastic battle, but we are indeed heading over to Nürburgring GP for the next one. How do you reckon that's going to go for you, and what do you do to prepare for such an event?
Yeah, we're just gonna try to practice as much as I can because I didn't get too much practice for this race today, but I'll definitely try to be there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of your bronze class today, Mr. Nico Colby. Absolutely fantastic job, and indeed some fantastic battles today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's going to end things off here, Zippy, because, man, we have managed to get some great action out of tonight's racing. What are your thoughts coming out of this round into Nürburgring next week?
Well, I've got to admit, Reese, it was an absolute belter. Certainly, whenever we take on a new show for the first time, we're never quite sure what we're going to get. Don't get me wrong, we know the cars, we know the track, we know the format. At least we've been given that. We know the sponsors. It takes us a little bit of time there to get used to that, but I gotta say, I'm starting to wonder if they really are onto something, because not having that instant limit, you gotta wonder, are you gonna get some really sketchy drivers? And don't get me wrong, if they let me drive, you certainly would see some questionable driving at times, ladies and gentlemen. Put Reese in the car, he represents us much, much better. But I'm starting to think that maybe this is a new dynamic that we could certainly try, because the battles were fantastic. This is the best I've seen in a while, and you know what? Even if you rub a little bit of paint, that's fine. It happens in racing. And I'm really starting to think we're onto something here. And I want to see this league grow. It's not only just because, these are a great bunch of guys and, Podium 1, this is a big deal. We love having Podium 1 here. We're with some Rafa Racing. That's fantastic. But I'm seeing a lot of potential here. And I think the racing is only going to get better, Reese.
Yeah, I think it's only going to get better too, especially with the hard-braking zones of Nürburgring coming up for the next round of the championship, the penultimate round before we go to Okayama in 2 weeks' time. So I think on that note, Zippy, we should close things off. We want to thank everybody for tuning in for this round of the Podium 1 Open Championship, sponsored by Rafa Racing Club and Grid Finder. It's been a fantastic debut broadcast for this series here on Pit Road Productions. I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Salmon alongside me in the commentary box, and also producing behind the scenes on the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next week at Nürburgring.